Our two of our head coaches that for our boys centre, they play for our first team. And I think for the Saturday team, it's the same thing for us, but we would love a top 3 finish because the top 3 teams get promoted. And my club kind of just goes like that, or I make the sacrifice and leave a club I've known since I was 18. I'm 24 this year, so but I can now really focus. So like for me, the youth side had all my attention, always had my attention, but the men's side I didn't really pay much attention to. I kind of did my behind the scenes role, that's my role there.
You alright, Reece? How are you today, mate?
I'm all good, you?
Nice to be back on the Chinwag Podcast.
Yeah, nice to be back.
I appreciate you coming back and doing like a re-podcast and an update on where you are after about a year and a half after we filmed. A lot has changed for me as well. Obviously, in my new studio. What do you think of my new studio?
To be fair, I love it. From where it was when I was here last to now, it's crazy. And I think these parts is my favourite, the little lights. I think it's sick. And like to have like shirts and from other places you've been to and stuff, I think that's pretty cool.
But yeah, this podcast is all about you. So what has changed for your club within the last year and a half, 2 years?
Well, the first one has been a name change.
Okay.
Because when we started Unpredictable, it started off as the Sixth Society. But since then, obviously, we've gone the youth side and it's got a bit more professional, if you know what I mean. So we couldn't go around going into schools and going, we're unpredictable, and they're thinking, oh my gosh, are these people actually going to turn up for these school clubs kind of thing. So like, they're shortened down to UPFC. Because that's what we've known for. That's what's been in the back of our shirts. So
you don't associate yourself as Unpredictable FC?
No. So really, we've got UPFC. At the moment, doesn't really stand for something, but we kind of sway into the side of Ultimate Performance Football Club.
Okay, that's good.
And I have to give credits to my old boss's partner.
Okay.
Because when he asked her what does UPFC stand for, he thought it meant Ultimate Performance Football Club, and I thought, that's a sick name.
That's a good name. So that's a start to become a more professional club.
Yeah.
What other things have you integrated within your club to make it more professional?
I think the biggest thing for us to make it more professional is to show the kids there's a route. So before we just had the men's team, a few teams, and like one development centre. It's now showing the parents that we can take them in from 5 years old and have them up until when they retire, playing football at like 35, 36 kind of thing.
So what has been the hardest, one of the hardest things within that process of trying to get a whole youth section? Because I remember you talking about it on a podcast previously. So what has been like the toughest thing of trying to get a massive youth section? I
think for us, because we are so, in our area, especially in Enfield, it's very condensed with the amount of teams and that's in a certain area. It's trying to not compete because we're not trying to compete with these people, we're trying to be different. But in the sense that we're not a known name, if you know what I mean. Like, you got these other clubs like Cuffley, Enfield Town, Enfield FC, and that kind of stuff that are well known in the area. That you go to a kid running and she goes, do you know this club? And they're like, yeah. Then he goes to them, do you know UPFC? It's like, oh, who are they? Kind of thing. So it's kind of like getting our name out there so people know who we are.
So what other ways you're trying to get your name out there? Are you doing like advertising? Obviously, you coming on a podcast might help a little bit, but what other ways are you trying to get your club's name like out there more?
I think our biggest thing for us was to hone into our selling point, which is that community club, that family feel. And we thought we need something that sets us apart from these massive clubs and really condense on that family feeling. Mm-hmm. So like, for example, two of our head coaches that for our boys centre, they play for our first team. So it means these kids have got role models kind of thing. They know to go up. And it's that kind of stuff with the role models, and we're advertising. But we've seen a really increase the last couple months. But obviously when the weather's got nice, everyone's like, let's go outside. But just the word of mouth, like our parents and have been fantastic with the word of mouth. They're constantly going, come here, come here, come here. Come. And it's just seen the numbers skyrocket, especially in the since probably about March, really skyrocket.
So when you were last here, your team had a Sunday team only. And now you're talking about some of the Saturday team boys are coaching some of the boys in your youth section. So obviously that means you have a Saturday team now. So what made you start a Saturday team recently?
Well, we sat down as a board, that we have a board, and we basically said, Sunday League is fantastic and it's probably the best thing for football. But if you got ambitions, like we've basically our maximum age of our squad currently before we've merged with someone else was 24. So these are young men that still want to progress and still want to push on, but they want to be in a club they feel comfortable with. So Sunday League, you go up to Prem Div, you go and win everything, and that's it. You can never progress higher than that. So we're like, just before we get there, let's invest into a Saturday team where we can go up the pyramids and step 7, step 6, step 5 on foot. We'll do that, but keep our team the same philosophy. Youngsters who may not have got the chance playing higher, get their minutes in and get their moves kind of up higher.
So is your aim to develop younger players or have more experienced players as well, or to have a mixture of players to try and progress your club? Because it sounds like you're trying to help players move on from your club to go to better teams, or do you want your club to go not like hashtag United, but like somewhat higher up the divisions?
See, our kind of thought process at the very start when we started was young men, young boys, and even when we started our women's section, young females get their first minutes in adult football and then progress up the pyramid. And what we've done this season, we've merged with a slightly older team because we've seen that with the youth, if we add older players like your 27s, 28s, they can learn a lot from them as well. So it's not just learning from the management team, the players, you're learning from the players around you. And we think that experience can change a young player's life. If you've got a 17-year-old playing with other 17-year-olds, they're only going to learn not bad habits, but habits from each other. But if you stick a 3 or 4 26-year-olds in that squad, their experience is going to change the way these 17-year-olds fit. They're thinking, oh, I should be doing this kind of thing and stuff like that.
So how have you managed to merge? You said you merged another club with your club. And how have you managed to do that? And what club is that have you merged with yours?
So it's still up in the air at the moment. Potentially merging with another Sunday team. They've got to the stage now where there's a few players dropping out because it's family and they've got their own families now. So they're coming across to us. Just one team, their Sunday team, to kind of merge with our Sunday team, and just so they can still play football, but we've got that experience that can dip into the squads. And because our Sunday squad and that's possible is going to be used as a feeder team as well. So a lot of youngsters will be in the Sunday team, like 16, 17, 18-year-olds, to try and get them moved to the Saturday team. But it's also the Sun boys that just want to play Sunday League football.
So has your Saturday team already had a season under their belt, or are you starting fresh for this coming season?
So our Saturday team will start their first season 2nd of September.
How confident are you in that Saturday team, and what are your ambitions for that team this season?
Listen, so everyone on the board has different ambitions, but I've always been quite a realistic person. Same thing with our Sunday team. The first year our Sunday team, it was an experience for all of us. There was no, we want to win this division or win the county cup stuff. It was just, let's learn. Not just the players learn, but also the committee learn the rules and not the politics, but everything that's around Sunday League football, not just playing your 90 minutes, go home. And I think for the Saturday team, it's the same thing for us, but we would love a top 3 finish because the top 3 teams get promoted. So if we can finish top 3 and get promotion, that's ideal.
I remember you telling me that you had a really successful cup run at one point. That was a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah.
Because we did the podcast about a year and a half ago. What was the season like for your men's team last year after we did the podcast?
I'll be honest, so I obviously was the manager at the start of the season. We had a bit of a shaky start.
Yeah, sacked. I'm joking.
But you could call it that too. No, I'm joking. So what it was, basically, I still was with my girls team that I do away from the club. And the issue was, we play in Essex, so we had Southend.
What, the girls team?
Yeah, we were like, this season, for some reason, we were all the way in Southend for pretty much, and Colchester for like all our away games. So even though their games would be at 2 p.m, I'd still be leaving at like 11 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the men's team players, and I understood them. They were like, we kind of want someone that's there the full game kind of thing. We were like, they'll bring a new manager in, but Ali, who's our chairman, was like, just do it. And as soon as he came in, first game won 10-0.
Nice.
But let's be honest, that first game, it got to 10-15. Another team had 7 players.
Right.
And kickoff was in 15 minutes.
Mad thing.
And it got 10:30. They still had 7.
Okay.
So don't get me wrong, they turned up for a few games, but I didn't turn up against us. And then after that, our season just went uphill kind of thing. I mean, obviously, during that poor run, we got knocked out above cup competitions, and the league was looking a bit far away. It was still in our hands, but it was like we need all the teams around us to lose kind of thing. Went on to finish fourth in the league, so I think that's a good run. We lost to teams that we shouldn't have lost, and we beat so we beat the top team quite easily, beat the second place team quite easily in their home game, but we lost to like the bottom two teams.
Mhm.
It was kind of that season, but then because a few teams folded, our chairman of the league put up a cup competition just for our division. It's like a group stage, play each other once, then there's a final. Top team goes to the final. We got to the final, play the cup final. This is a team that they beat us twice, we beat them twice. It was like anyone's the winner kind of thing. Yeah. Fired down all the youth sides. We loads of the parents and family all come down, and youth players went up 3-0, 3-1, 3-2, 4-2, 5-2, and they scored 5-3, and it was literally just winning that trophy again. So it's like a repeat of the season before.
Okay.
We still finished with silverware. So
obviously now you're moved on to Saturday football, but we're moving on to a different side of your club. So do you want to talk me through your youth girls section? Because I remember you talking about how passionate you were about starting a youth section and how much trouble it was trying to get one started. So how far has it progressed from you trying to sort it out to now?
To be fair, that's actually a crazy question because I just messaged all my coaches this morning. So we've got now, well, before we go into this new season, we've had 2 Wildcat centres, a squad girls, which were girls 12 to 14, a boys centre, and goalkeepers, and also our 2 teams. And I put a message this morning in the group chat, and I was like, this was our numbers in January, and it was like 3 boys, 1 trialist. On one of our Wildcats, it was 2 girls, 1 trialist. Squad was 3 girls, 1 trialist. And I look at the numbers now, and we've got like 16 boys on our boys centre. One of our girls centres has got 10, others got 8. Squad girls is getting bigger. We've picked up 2 new girls during the summer, so now we're up to about 10 or 11. And our goalkeepers to goalkeepers grow with the club kind of thing. And our 2 teams have added a lot of new players, so that kind of growth has been crazy, and to the point now we're adding more stuff when the season gets back up in September.
So what's been the hardest thing about starting up a youth section, especially for girls? Because obviously you're trying to get more girls to play, and with the Lionesses right now in the World Cup, so obviously they'll be hopefully inspired by them and to go and play football. So how do you aim to get more girls to play in general?
To be fair, I think in the nicest way possible, the Lionesses winning last year in the Euros was the biggest thing, not just for my football club, but just for girls football in general. Girls then saw that our girls won an international cup competition way before the men's. So it showed that the girls players are, if not better than the men's players. They delivered on that trophy everyone's been wanting so much. Yes, I think that was the biggest thing. But also I think with girls football as well, so it's still a very new element, especially these. So like the squad centre, the actual squad that the FA runs, the FA program, was only a year old in September. So that's still brand new. So that's still learning its way, and we're learning. I think girls with the FA and the local county FA is really on board. They've been putting a lot more events and stuff to try and really push girls football.
So what's the most rewarding part?
So I think the most rewarding part for me was, like I said, that message this morning when I put that message in, and we've had our end of season feedback, and you just look at the numbers that has changed. In January, it's only, what were we in August? So it's only like 8 months difference. And in 8 months, we've like tripled our numbers across our sites. And it's like, that for me is most rewarding. And seeing, for example, a coach that had left us previously has now come back to be our head of girls. And she took one session, and the feedback form was, "Oh, we love her. We want her to coach." And it's like they've got a role model now. It's not just me coaching the girls; they've got a really dominant, prominent girls icon as their coach. And I think that's the fantastic thing about it. And it's also, I think my biggest reward is next season. My sister is one of the coaches.
Okay.
So to see her from not playing football, and she was a dancer.
Because you coached her at, was it Leighton?
Yeah, no, I coached her at elite feet and
Okay.
correct.
So you were at Leighton, right?
Yeah, I was at Leighton. So to see her go from playing football, she played late, so she started playing at like 12 years old. To go through playing, stopping playing, and then now to coach. And she's give her a dues on and make her head massive. But she's actually a natural born coach.
Okay.
Just the way she carries herself with the girls, they love her.
She's got big brothers to look up to, that's why.
I think she's better than me to be fair when she's at my age. I wish I was that good at 16 coaching.
So I remember last time you were kind of at two clubs, obviously your club and a club called Leighton coaching girls. So I saw recently on your Instagram that you left Leighton. So what are the reasons behind leaving that club?
I think there was really and truly one reason, because them girls, that's my family. That's my little sisters as I saw it. And I tell them all the time, I've seen them from 8, 9 to now they're 13, 14 little girl. Like they went from little girls, baby girls to like teenagers, and everyone knows what teenagers like. And I was like, the only reason I have to leave is the club. My club has got so much bigger. And it's like, there's two ways I can go about it. Stay at Leighton for another season, really try and push my girls even more, and my club kind of just goes like that, or I make the sacrifice and leave a club I've known since I was 18. I'm 24 this year, so I've known pretty much my whole adult life. Leave them and just fully put all my time and energy into my club. And it was like, I sat down and spoke to a few people that are around me and kind of went, what do I do? And they're like, where do you want UP to go? And I went, for me, the sky's the limit. Like, take it as far as possible, because you need to put all your energy and all your time into it. Then if that's sleepless nights, you got to do it, because that's what you want. You want your club to be there. So
and how have you found, obviously since leaving Leighton, and how have you found it with the extra time that you have for your club, and what things have you been able to do with your extra time?
I think one of the things was I have a night free. And I think that was a big thing for me as well. It was like when I was at Leighton and doing my club, I had no evenings free, no days free. It was literally non-stop, Monday to Sunday. So it's now having that evening free and I can have a little rest. But it's also I can focus on stuff that kind of might have never really needed much attention, but I can now really focus. So like for me, the youth side had all my attention, always had my attention. But the men's side, I didn't really pay much attention to. I kind of did my behind the scenes roles. That's my role there. And didn't really do anything else. Whereas now I can support when needed and stuff like that. And I can see then I can really sit down and see what areas are red flags and orange and what's green, what's really fantastic at the club and stuff like that. So I can really use my time a lot more wisely.
So what ambitions have you got for this season as well?
To be fair, we actually sat down as a board and was like, the chairman, it's me, my dad, and my mate and his dad that all did it together. And he sat me down in his kitchen, my mate's dad, me and him in the kitchen, and he went to us, literally went, boys, is this a serious thing for you or just a bit of fun and time for you? And I went to him, serious. Like, I put so much effort in, it's got to be serious. And he goes, then we need to do whatever we can to make it bigger. So we thought, obviously our boys centre is now grown, and where we're now training on a Thursday night, our new facility, we've got space to open a new boys centre. So we're going to open a second boys centre. And what we said, something I've always liked to do, I did a course on it, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, why is there not more of it? Now it's futsal. Right in the course, I opened up, I was like, oh my gosh, I probably could have been a goalie at futsal, and I'm only 5'7". And I was like, I was in the wrong style of football. In October, when we go to our winter facilities, we're going to introduce futsal. So that's something different. There's not much in our area of futsal. There's a few teams, but nothing really crazy.
Is that why you want to introduce it? Because there's not many people doing it, and hopefully you get an influx of people doing or playing futsal at your club?
I think for me, it's when I spoke to someone about futsal, these teams are travelling far, and I'm talking like they're travelling 3-4 hours just to play one game. And I was like, if we can get more teams in the area playing futsal, we can have a Hertfordshire League of futsal. I don't know if there is one out there, but we can have one where there's not just 4 teams, there's like 8-10 teams, and we can all play against each other and run futsal. But I think just futsal, the way the game's going, if you look at these certain teams that are excelling, like Brazil, for example, Brazil were probably the best futsal team. You sit them in futsal, no one's beating them. Just stop playing. kind of thing, because it's very futsal oriented, very skill orientated. How they play football, quick passing, is what futsal kind of is in the nicest way.
Thank you very much for joining me on the Chinwag Podcast. We had a really good catch up and your ambition for your club, and I can see the passion that you have for your club. So thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed catching up and seeing the new podcast office and everything that's different. I think it's amazing. I think what you do is amazing, highlighting football, grassroots football. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And good luck for your season. If you did enjoy that podcast, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Check out Reece's club in the description down below. And don't forget, we'll see you later for more.
So
Thank you.
You'll give me a script, man.
Thank you. Thank you.